Welcome.
Motherfucker, you were all about, I'm on a boat, 2008. I am a boat, bitch. I'm a submarine.
I am
Look
a
at my
boat.
little propeller and shit.
I am a boat. Take a good
Bomberman, bitch. He's a submarine.
Man, you know what's exciting to think about? Is
What?
that, like, we keep getting older, and that means there's more and more eras that become, like,
Okay.
when I, like, when you think when I was growing up, you think childhood. But,
Yeah.
like, anything before now is, like, when I was this age. It's like when I'm 30, it's going to be like, oh, yeah, when I was in my, late 20s, and that'll be, like, a whole era. Because the reason I thought of this is we were talking about Bomberman, like, that's late 90s, early 2000s, right? Like, this game probably came out in 98. Generations would have been like 2003. So that's the era we're talking about. Then you said I'm on a boat, 2008. And I'm like, that's a whole other fucking time in our lives, you know? That's that's like several houses later,
world is a different
whole
place.
different
What the fuck?
personality types.
How do I back
and
up?
shit.
Ah!
Not even close to the same people we were when Bomberman was out. And yet,
Whoa, I
that's
can back
still
up. Cool.
ancient history, 2008, God. Also,
Yeah.
I'm on a boat, I think was probably 07.
I don't fucking know.
But yeah, man. I'm on a boat.
I'm not a time man who knows the time.
I'm on a boat, motherfucker. Take a look at me.
Dude, that was rad. I fought a giant crab. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Man, that just took me back to a whole bunch of other shit thinking about I'm on a boat. Want to hear a story of my forum days?
Yeah.
When I was 15 in 2007, then I discovered the Mega Tokyo forums for the webcomic Mega Tokyo.
Yes.
And there was an anime board on there with a bunch of people who knew anime really in depth. There were people who watched the stuff from Japan, which was not common at the time. Now that's like kind of a given if you watch like Crunchyroll or something. Back then, most people watched anime on DVDs that they bought from the store. So these are people who were watching like fan subs and shit and downloading them off the internet illegally.
Fucking patricians, man.
Yes, they were true
patricians.
But they had this thing every year where they would have like a big character contest, like a who are the best characters of the year kind of thing. And they would have like a bunch of threads for it, and like there's this huge bracket. It was a huge thing, that would happen once a year. And everyone would do these really extensive campaigns for the characters that they liked.
I remember you fuck, man, I killed myself. I remember you telling me these things back when we were but wee lads.
Yes. So yeah, there would be these huge campaigning things. I remember the first year that I participated because I was brand new to the concept of anime online, right? Like I've been an anime fan since 2001, never watched it on the internet, didn't know about that. I'd always watched it on DVD or on television. So the first show I ever watched on a computer was Haruhi, which I had heard a bunch of people talking about it. And then I found it on YouTube at the time because, YouTube was still a place where you could find illegal downloads of things. I guess you still can for a lot of stuff, but nothing popular like Haruhi. It was in shit quality. But I watched all of Haruhi on there, and then I discovered the Mega Tokyo forums, and they were in the middle of the character contest when I first discovered the forum. And it was for 2006. And, when you submit basically, at the very beginning of it, everyone gets to submit 5 characters who will be in the running. And, whichever ones have enough votes will become the bracket. And then from there, it's a contest, But the only 2006 anime I had seen was Haruhi. So I just voted in all 5 Haruhi characters as my electorate.
Somehow I thought this was going to lead to you voting for Bomberman, submitting Bomberman.
Bomberman will have nothing to do with this.
Damn it.
What this has to do with is I'm on a boat.
I thought this was going to be about Bomberman, and I feel very misled.
How did you think this would be about Bomberman?
I was like, man, he's going to submit Bomberman in the character contest, and everyone's going to call him a fucking idiot.
Why would I do that? That's retarded.
I don't know.
It's an anime thing. Well, anyways, the point is that there was like the most memorable campaign of that whole time. And remember, this is before like people made YouTube videos about random things and shit because the internet streaming was still young. But this guy had made this huge post where he had just taken all of I'm on a Boat and made it about Black Lagoon. Because so much of Black Lagoon takes place on a boat.
Yeah.
And it was just like all these screen caps of like the main characters, and he'd like edited all this bling onto them.
Ah, fuck.
Like it would be like Revy Photoshop to have like a thick chain and sunglasses riding
Dude,
on a
holy
boat
shit.
with all the lyrics of I'm on a Boat in there, and
Uh-huh.
people fucking lost their shit, myself included. Yeah.
Did you ever find your shit?
It was just amazing that people like something that still to this day blows my mind because of the fact that to me, like, when I make something, there has to be like some audience for it, you know, and it's amusing how people can put a ton of work into something for like 10 people to see it, you know, or for like such a small community, because I think in their minds it's like, well, yeah, it's for this community I'm a part of. This is
You're making shit for your friends, and so you're just like shitting around.
But it's just funny because like to me it's like how much work I put in has to be like proportional to how much audience it'll have. You know, like it's just a like kind of a hang up I have where I have a hard time putting more work into something. And if I don't think it's gonna be the thing that's making the money or pulling in the views kind of thing, but I mean,
this was probably at a time for those people where making the money and raking in the views was not a thing that was around, you know?
Well, no, it's not viable for like an anime thing at the time. It's just amusing to me that people would do it at all. That like anybody would give enough of a fuck about some forum contest about best character, which is not relevant to anything outside this forum. It's only relevant to the Mega Tokyo forums, but people took it very seriously and would campaign like really legitimately hard and spend lots of time like crafting perfect descriptions of the characters and making fun meme shit.
Oh, what the fuck is that?
The character contest had a bunch of memes and a bunch of stuff related to them.
What the hell? This thing is real as shit. Oh!
And you know,
wow, this is chaos.
I admired all that stuff, but I never ended up doing it. Like I always wanted to make some kind of big campaign for a character, but I never ended up doing it really.
Yeah.
And mostly because I knew I wouldn't win, and I knew I wasn't clever enough to make something really funny. Because I was always backing like some obscure lolly or something.
Some gay shit.
I remember in 2000.
Lame-ass shit,
I remember
like
that in
lollies.
2007, I think, like, or you know, early 2008, the contest for the 2007 characters. I think I was campaigning for Tamaki from Bamboo Blade, which not a lot of people had watched. Nobody cared about. Nobody cared about her character in particular or any of them. So, like, you know, if I had campaigned, I would have been the one guy campaigning for it, but I was just like, she's not going to win, and I'm not going to spend all my time making stuff for it, you know. I should have, though.
Oh!
It would have been cool. It would be something I could look back on and say that I did,
yeah.
you know.
You could have been like, wow, look at how much of a fucking waste of time
I could have been
was.
a contender. Hey, man. Forum stuff was fun back in the day. But, yeah, I mean, I think Mega Tokyo was one of the better forums out there because those people did stuff like that, you know? They did community events that really, you know, organized people, which I see elements of that on Reddit now. You know, I think Reddit has good communities like that. The only problem is that Reddit has the shittiest moderators in the world. At least our anime does. Like our anime is as much, they have the same kind of things, you know, they have like their best girl contest. It's not nearly as interesting as it was back on Mega Tokyo, but yeah, I mean, I'm banned, so I can't do anything. I can't participate.
Exactly, you're banned, so who cares?
Right. Yeah, that's that story.
Sweet.
Did you want to hear more about magazines? Is that a thing I should keep talking about?
I don't care. You can talk about whatever. I'm playing Bomberman, bitch. I'm killing Geodudes. This is badass.
It is definitely Geodudes. Yeah, like, oh, geez. Just growing up, I don't know. I feel like I've talked about magazines on the show before. But just that, like, when I was young, I was so determined that I was going to make a magazine. Like, that to me was, like, the highest accomplishment would be.
Some children value astronauts.
Yes.
Firefighters. Conrad valued magazines.
Yeah. Well, okay. Obviously, the real dream would be to like make a video game, you know. But that's so far off and intangible compared to like what you think you can do.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand the first thing about programming or anything like that, you know. Now I was working on a video game at the time, the one I've talked about that I thought I was going to get $2 million for selling the idea.
Illustrating images for a video game that existed in your mind. Yes.
Yeah. But that's, you know, that's one thing. But like a magazine is like, I completely understand the mechanics of how you make this. At least I felt that way.
Yes.
You know, obviously the magazine people don't draw all the images and they don't write it on lined paper as I did with my magazine. But I understood the idea of like, here's the structure of it. You know, you've got different sections that are regular in every issue. Then you've got articles that are about current event things. Then you've got opinion pieces in the back, you know, and advertising.
Yeah.
And so all of those elements were what I incorporated into mine. And I was doing that for like I wrote it was 95 pages, the magazine I wrote.
Yeah.
Over the summer. It was the greatest accomplishment of my young life because it was the first thing I ever finished. You know, it's the first project I ever totally finished. And I don't think I can even understate how important it is, especially when you're young, to have finished something.
Yeah.
Because if you're a creative person who's never finished anything, then you never understand what it's like to have something under your belt that you don't have to like think about it ever again. It's just like it's out there now. You know, it is now a thing that you've done and it's in the past and you can always look back on it and say that you did it. And that's why I'm a huge proponent of just releasing things, you know, just like getting to the end and releasing things, because once you've done something...
That's something interesting to me lately, because I know some people who do some film stuff, and like, they don't have anything. Yeah. And I'm like, at least I have like a boatload of shit. Even if it's not any good, I have a bunch of stuff that you can look at to know where my skills lie and like what I'm at least capable of. And then there's some other people I know who are in it, and like they're working and stuff, you know, like my buddy Aaron is like he ultimately wants to be a director or whatever, but now he's just kind of like doing grip stuff and like small position shit, and it's like I can't imagine a path for him right now because he doesn't have anything. Like he could definitely never do what I'm working towards and doing like DP stuff, because like, who would let him make a video? He's never made a video before, like, that anyone can see.
It's so important to have done a thing.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I, at that very young age, had written a magazine.
It's the boss. These bosses are fucking hard, dude.
Yeah.
Well, it's just this guy. You just fight this guy over and over again.
I'm sure that's probably a big part of why this game didn't have the best reviews. Repetitive boss fights, often a complaint against
it's cool
games.
because the boss evolves and like learns your strategies every time.
Yeah, but on a tangible level of the kind of shit that dumbass people talk about, you know, it's
the repetitiveness of the boss is what makes it good. I mean, it's just like the Bowser fights in Mario. It's the same difference.
That would be a great counter argument to one of those reviewers.
It's literally just...
That's a cool move that he can kick
gets new moves every time, and it's better at responding to what you're going to do every time.
Right. Anyways.
Oh! It kicks your bombs back. That's insane.
So after that first magazine, there was a second one I wrote about anime when I was like 13, which was only 22 pages, because it was all just reviews. And it was all one-page reviews that are utterly fucking cringeworthy. Like, I've never reread the 95-page magazine since childhood. Like, I'm sure I've reread it back then, but I haven't seen it again in full because it's all handwritten. It's hard to read, and it's barely comprehensible.
I'm sure your handwriting is atrocious. Look how many hits this takes, dude. It's insane.
The anime magazine that was me and Boyd put together. Like I got him to write a couple reviews for it. And,
I remember, yeah.
Like I've found, like, you know, it was printed out. I wrote it all in Microsoft Word, and each page would be like a different font based on whatever show it was. So like Blood the Last Vampire review, it has like the Chiller font, which is like this bloody looking font.
It's,
you know,
really, now that you're an adult and you do this professionally, it's pretty amazing to see how you've always been doing the same thing, and like you really
it's no different.
stuck at doing the same thing your entire life.
Yeah. and with
like you were truly born to do this shit.
With the anime magazine, each one, like, in my head, like, it just made sense to keep, like, you know, it's a review is a page. So it would be, like, but, God, they're unbelievably cringeworthy. Like, probably, if there's one thing I've done that is more cringy than anything else, it would be that magazine. Just because it's...
Did you become edgy at that point?
No, not the edginess. Just, it's so fucking... You could tell a 13-year-old wrote it, you know? Mm-hmm. And, okay, it would be like, this show's amazing because there's so much blood. All the blood is what makes it good.
That's all we cared about when we were 13.
Yeah. I would like praise something for having the best death I'd seen. But the worst is like, there's one where we talk about Cowboy Bebop, and it was like, I got Boyd to write about it, and he like barely said anything other than like, it's great, because Boyd's never been very good at like expressing his, you know, like his thoughts on things. He just thinks they're good, which is normal, but not good for a magazine. So I know I had written in this whole like scene where Ed like shows up at our offices and is like fucking with us, and like we have a whole dialogue with Ed from Cowboy Bebop. Because, you know, she's a wacky character, so she's going to get into some wacky fourth wall breaking scenario. And it's bad. It is just unbelievable.
Hey man, don't put yourself down.
It's also really funny because the tone of each review is completely different from the last. And I guess that's kind of similar to how I am now. That, like, you know, the stuff I write, I don't do, like, any kind of consistency between, like, what style of review it is. But there'd be one where it's, like, me just describing the plot, you know? Like Yu Yu Hakusho. I, like, extensively explain what Yu Yu Hakusho is about. And then just kind of say, and it's cool. But then, like Rurouni Kenshin Samurai X, I didn't say anything about what it's about. I just gushed about how violent it is and how that makes it the best anime ever. Because I had just watched it the night before. It was one of those things where, like, we watched it as I was writing the magazine, and it became, like, my favorite thing ever. But I'm just describing that it's so bloody and so violent that nothing has ever been cooler in all of history. And that's that's why it's my favorite.
Yes.
It's incredible. But yeah, I continued to try to make magazines for a long time. And the last serious attempt I had at a magazine was the Virginia Beach Hermit Society from just a couple years ago.
I like how
which didn't amount to anything.
Your only consistency in life is inconsistency.
Yeah. I just don't like to have formulas for things, you know?
Yeah.
I respect people who can do a formula well, but, like, for me, it's just limiting. It's like...
I don't like labels.
I don't like labels either.
I know.
I can't tell if you're being
funny,
a meme
or... thing to say.
You're not succeeding at whatever you're doing right now.
I got him.
Oh, well, congratulations. This is like a clown hell, by the way.
Yeah, they're tough guys, man.
I love this fucking music.
It's excellent. It's elevator music, man.
I want a Bomberman Vaporwave album stat.
Ah!
Someone make it. For like... God, I don't even want to say, like, for a decade, because it might even just be still the case, that me and Victor forever, when we heard any kind of, like, techno music, would call it Bomberman music.
It's always Bomberman music.
Like, if it's of a
really
specific...
The break beats and that specific, like, wow. That was an evil monster tree! And he got me!
Well, yeah,
he deceived me!
Breakbeat, obviously, which, like, it was a long time before I recognized it as... Like, because... we don't listen to electronic music. We don't know anything about it. So there's a few specific genres that this game is calling, you know, like, that is doing. And whenever we'd hear those genres, we'd be like, oh, it's Bomberman music, you know, like, not realizing that there is a whole genre probably with that name, such as breakbeat, which is what this song, Redial, is. But biggest example of Bomberman music that we had growing up was the Boogie Pop Phantom soundtrack.
Yeah.
Which is very much in the same vein. Also has breakbeats on it. But I remember, because the first song on the Boogie Pop soundtrack is like Happy End.
Death Grips is very Bomberman.
Yeah. Particularly, like, that one song you have as your ringtone. Which one is it?
I don't remember it. It changed.
It's like. I'm pretty sure it's from No Love Deep Web. Yeah. It's the one before World of Dogs.
No Love Deep Web is very ringtony.
Yeah. God, what the fuck is that song
called?
Cloud,
man. The Cloud's a fuckboy.
Anyway, yeah.
No!
Happy End from Boogie Pop Phantom OST. I remember just thinking, like, every time I would listen to it, I would picture...
I'm hitting the top of that. I thought I was hitting the front of the wall. I was like, what the fuck?
I would always picture the water level from Bomberman whenever I heard that song. Next time on Digi Bros.
Sure.